Some football stories feel big in the moment, but some, they grow bigger with time. And Cardiff City's run to the 2008 FA Cup final is one of those. It's a run that began quietly, almost anonymously, and ended under the arches of Wembley, with a championship side taking on Premier League teams along the way, a club that rediscovered its identity, and a city that dared to dream once again. This is Cardiff City World. Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Cardiff City World. Today is a special edition of Bluebirds Rewind, and it's going to feature some familiar faces with insight from two men who lived every second of the subject. And that is, of course, Stephen McPhail and Gavin Ray, and maybe just a little cameo from Super Kev McNaughton as we look at the story of Cardiff City's FA Cup run, the FA Cup final defeat, and of course, the aftermath. This is the story. Let's talk about it. So let's be honest. This run didn't come from stability. This didn't come from calmness. As always with Cardiff, it came from chaos. Cardiff City were a mid-table in the championship at the time, having failed to get promotion. And the mood around the club was unpredictable, to say the least. But what Cardiff did have was a squad full of character and talent under Dave Jones. Stephen McPhail's elegance, Gavin Ray's engine, Peter Whittingham's left foot, Roger Johnson, Glenn Leuven's at the back, Darren Pearson on the bench, Paul Parry is reliant as ever, and of course the big boys, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, the legendary striker, adding that experience, that class, and that all-around presence. Plus, of course, the spark of something special emerged that season. A 16-year-old Aaron Ramsey playing with maturity well beyond his age. This wasn't a perfect team. This was a team that was full of belief and togetherness. And on cup days, that belief, but in particular that togetherness, just seemed to grow game by game.
And yeah, I think within that group we had such a great balance within the squad. With a few young boys who came in the middle of that season, like Rambo and Darcy Blake, Adam Matthews was in around it, and then we had the experienced boys with Jimmy and a few others, Trev Sinclair, Tomo, all these boys who've been there and done it. So I think within the group we felt really together. We had great camaraderie. Like we had such good play. Joe Ledley was still a young kid at that time, so we had loads of ability with a lot of good experienced people around it. So it was
began in a third round away tie to Chasetown, one of the smallest clubs to ever reach that stage. To cut cliches, of course, the banana skin. But reality is Cardiff handled it. This was Gavin Ray's first game as one of the leaders in the squad. And it was early in his Cardiff career. But Whittingham was sharp, Parry was dangerous, and ultimately Cardiff had a little bit too much quality for Chasetown. But what did happen that day was Aaron Ramsey made his debut at just 16 years old. And he didn't let us down. He even grabbed a goal on the day.
The cup run obviously starting at Chasetown, which was an experience in itself. I think Kev scored the own goal, I think it was early second half or in the first half, whatever, and we're just thinking like, wow. I don't know for 100%, but I think I was the captain that day because Steve McPhail didn't play. I'd have to double check, but I was thinking, oh my God, we're playing Chasetown. I'm one of the leaders in the team, even though I'm quite new, and we could be going out to Chasetown when Kev scored on goal. But luckily we got it back, and I think it was Witt scored, and then Aaron Ramsey scored. I think it was maybe his first goal for Cardiff.
Yeah, I think it was his debut, mate.
I think it was maybe his debut, right? Maybe, yeah. So, incredible sort of way it finished, and you get that job done and out the road, which is great.
Next up came the fourth round versus Hereford United. A tricky pitch, an awkward opponent, but it was another job done. With the final score, Cardiff City 2, Hereford 1, and that belief grew quietly, albeit at that point. It was not title-winning belief. It was not, I don't think anyone believed that we were getting to a final at that point. But there was something bubbling, maybe a little bit of momentum as such. But there was a moment coming where maybe, just maybe, people started to take notice. In round 5 of the FA Cup, we faced Premier League Wolves. And Cardiff were underdogs on the day for sure. But on that day, we were dominant. It was a proper atmosphere, a proper cup atmosphere. It was rocking, it was electric, proper old school cup tie, the kind of night where stands shook. Cardiff won 2-0 thanks to Peter Whittingham and of course Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank scoring in classic fashion. Witts with an effortless left foot effort and Hasselbank with a finish that only a man of his pedigree will bring. This was a night where the neutrals started quietly to take notice of Cardiff's FA Cup story this season, because these boys can play. And then the quarter-final, a shock at the Riverside. The quarter-final, Middlesbrough versus Cardiff City, was interesting. Premier League v Championship again. And on paper, it was a bit of a mismatch. But on the pitch, Cardiff was simply magnificent. It finished Middlesbrough 0, Cardiff City 2. Away from home in front of 30,000 fans, Cardiff went there with confidence. Having already dispatched Wolves, Cardiff played with a great shape, with great discipline, and they scored 2 outstanding goals. Of course, the legend that is Peter Whittingham scored again with a composed but clinical finish. And then Roger Johnson rose above everyone, a moment that summed up the belief and the bravery of this team. And that togetherness was definitely evident once again. This was the night that the fans began to sing, "We're going to Wembley." And little did they know that they most definitely were. Not once,
As we
but
progressed,
twice.
we obviously got through Wolves at home. It was a huge win. But then going to Middlesbrough away, they were obviously in the Premier League. I think going up there and performing like we did, and putting in a really, really good performance. I think then you could feel within the group that we've got a chance here, which was amazing. I think you look back in that Middlesbrough game and with his goal, and then Rog coming up with a great header. I remember that feeling when that final whistle went up there, that maybe this could happen. So it was I think that Middlesbrough moment for me, away at a Premier League team who had a lot of top players at that time, was the probably turning point where I felt anyway, and I'm sure within that group, if you ask most of the boys, that was probably the game where we thought, right, we've got a hell of a chance of trying to get to a cup final here.
And then you've obviously got Middlesbrough away. You think, like, if you can get through that Middlesbrough game, then you've got a good chance, because they're obviously a decent team and we're high up. So when we went up there and won that, and obviously, and then you're in, I think it was a semi after that, wasn't it? So Middlesbrough, was it Middlesbrough and then
yeah, Middlesbrough, and then that's it.
Yeah, Barnsley. Yeah, but I think the fact that Barnsley had obviously done incredible giant killing in terms of Liverpool and Chelsea, right? So they've basically taken out 2 massive hitters, and now we've got an opportunity to play them in the semi. So as soon as you finish the Middlesbrough game, you get the draw. We just thought it's an incredible opportunity here, like it's sort of everything sort of aligned for us and for them, because they must have been thinking, we beat Liverpool, we beat Chelsea. Now we've got a championship team in Cardiff as well, so we've got an incredible opportunity. So they must have been devastated after that, but we were obviously in a really good spot where we thought we'd nothing to lose. They've done not the hard work, but they've done a big part of the work for us, and we can just go and try and enjoy the semi and try and, you know, get a good result, and then you're in the final. And
so the semi-final comes around, and it's Cardiff versus Barnsley. And I think as a championship side, if you're going to be playing at Wembley in an FA Cup semi-final, there's two ways to look at it. Do you want the big boys on that big day out? Well, yeah, probably. But on the other side of things, if you can play a team that you fancy yourself to beat in a semi-final of a major major competition, I think that is also a big blessing. So there we had it. Cardiff City versus Barnsley, Wembley, FA Cup semi-final, blue everywhere. A City had come out in force to support the boys. And then, just 9 minutes into the game, the homegrown hero, Joe Ledley, was written into the club's history and folklore forever. And what a goal it was. Technique, timing, beauty. A goal you could watch 1,000 times, and I have, and still smile. From there, Cardiff showed great maturity beyond their expectations of a championship club. McPhail, Ray dictated the game. Glenn Luvens and Roger Johnson immense. The fullbacks were solid. Whittingham and Parry, not only quality on the ball, but working tirelessly for the team. And again, I will say it. The togetherness of this side was a massive part of this FA Cup run. A nearly 17-year-old Aaron Ramsey came on at Wembley, and he just played like he belonged there. And before you knew it, Cardiff City were on their way to Wembley to an FA Cup final, nonetheless.
So it was when you see them four left, you think, yeah, let's go. It was a good time to feel that we could get to that cup final, and thankfully Joe comes up with a great goal against Barnsley in Wembley, and we're there. So it was special times.
But the whole run, like you say, it was kind of sort of magical the way it sort of just formed for us. And then we went into the semi, and you've got I remember it being I don't know why, but it was a freezing cold day in April. There was still like snow and ice on the roof at Wembley, and it was just like, this is bizarre. Like, it's in the start of April, but it's probably the best game of my career. That game, the semi-final, it's probably the best game of my whole career in any team. You know, I remember just feeling really strong, powerful in the game, and it going really well. I actually should have scored a diving header in the second half to make it 3-1, but I didn't. So I was devastated with that. But you know, just to get through that, knowing that you're going back to the FA Cup final, and the journey home from Wembley to Cardiff that day in the semi was just one of the stuff of dreams, mate. It was just incredible, because you know you're coming back again the next month for the FA Cup final, which just incredible
the final. The day that Cardiff stood tall and made another trip to Wembley. It was May. Cardiff City versus Portsmouth, the FA Cup final. It still sounds surreal. Dave Jones kept faith with experience. Hasselbank up front, Whittingham, Ledley, McPhail, Ray. The back four as well that had been outstanding throughout the competition. Cardiff were bold. They didn't sit back. They had chances. They kept the ball pretty well. They tried to play. But Portsmouth were not the Portsmouth of today. They had a squad full of top-end Premier League talent, and a squad of players who went on to have incredible careers playing for teams like Real Madrid, the international superstars. This was Cardiff v Portsmouth, yes, but this was a team littered with top footballers. But as so often is in finals, games are decided by ugly moments, a scrappy ball, a loose rebound, and Kanu poked it in. Cardiff pushed and pushed. There was, I think it was a Paul Parry header was inches away. I think Steve Thompson came on and caused a bit of havoc. Ramsey came on again and showed no fear, like he belonged. And he did so much that season at such a young age. But the We came close, but the equaliser never came. And when the whistle blew, it was heartbreak. But the heartbreak was wrapped in pride.
When you look back now as a former player and you look at that final against Portsmouth, do you look at it as an achievement to reach an FA Cup final, or do you look at it as a missed opportunity that you could have won a FA Cup?
Oh, it's missed for me. Like, I was devastated after that game because I think leading into that game, you have such a big couple of weeks with the lead in, with the press, with the eyes on you. And yeah, I just dreamt of walking up that steps and lifting the cup. So it was, I felt it was going to happen. Everything about the day, I felt we were within the game. We were well in the game. Obviously, they had an incredible squad. But I think I only looked at, because I knew I was coming on here, I only looked back at the stats on that game, and it was all nearly split down the middle. It was 50-50 possession. I think we had 8 shots to their 7. So we were well in the game, and obviously a mistake from Inks, which can happen. They scored a goal. They're the fine margins, but for me, it was hugely disappointing at the end of the game because I believed, I had the picture in my head. I just remember going to sleep. I was rooming with Kev the night before and having these conversations of what day we're going to have tomorrow. And yeah, I just always pictured that we were going to go up and lift the cup, which was a shame it didn't happen. But obviously, it was an amazing achievement to get there. But for me, you're asking me that question is, yeah, disappointed. Obviously, that we didn't get what we wanted to do.
The aftermath was brutal. This felt like the one that got away, I've got to say. This still does feel like the one that got away. What an opportunity. And on the day, it was such a close game. And in many ways, Cardiff performed really well. I'm sure the dressing room was emotional. The players were drained. I'm sure there was tears shed. I'm sure some just stared into space. But I think they knew, and hopefully they all know, that looking back, they did something truly historic. Dave Jones, I would imagine, would have told them such, and the senior players would have reinforced it. You know, Portsmouth spoke highly of Cardiff City after the game. They congratulated the team, blah, blah, blah. But when they travelled home on the bus, few beers, leave it to Kev McNaughton and Trevor Sinclair to lighten the mood.
FA Cup final was brilliant. The bus back, we're all hungover as anything. We just said to the driver, mate, just stop at Asda. So we've gone to Asda and we just filled the trolley up full of beer and stuff. got absolutely wellied on the way back. But one of my mates is a big QPR fan, so he gave me a QPR top and said, could you get Trevor Sinclair to sign the QPR top? But Trevor, when he's got a drink in him, was mental, so I said to Trevor, could you sign this QPR top? He went, I'll give you that, and he stuck it on, and it was skin tight. QPR top. He was pretending, he grabbed the 2 sides of the seats and he was pretending to do overhead kicks in the middle of the bus. I sent a picture to my mate of Trevor Sinclair in that QPR top doing an overhead kick on the bus.
Excellent.
I was delighted. And then obviously just went
better
to
than a signature.
No one quite delivers a story like Super Kev. And, you know, football is cruel. But footballers have to find a way to cope, and they have to find a way to laugh again. I'm sure, and I know from, you know, speaking to many of the squad on and off camera, it was a real painful one. And I think it was painful for a while. Some of them still look back on it with real frustration and real what if. But here we are, years later. That cup run still matters. As a Cardiff City fan, I still cannot fathom that I've been to Wembley twice to watch us in a major cup final. Never mind playoff final. This was a moment that took the football world, or certainly the UK football world, by a bit of a shock. It took Cardiff. They took Cardiff seriously again. Certainly fast-tracked the rise of people like Aaron Ramsey. It showcased the brilliance of Stephen McPhail, of Gavin Ray, and many others. It reignited a bit of belief in the stands. It definitely restored the identity that season of the club. And when I say about the togetherness of that squad, I cannot get that across to you enough, how together this group was. But also this run and this season, this period, the fans, the players, the football club were definitely united. And it set the foundations for the future, whether that was promotion or anything else. Cardiff City didn't lift the trophy that day, but that day definitely lifted a city. And ultimately, it's a memory that can never be taken away from Cardiff City fans. That season was special, and it's something which I'll tell my kids about until the day I die, and hopefully my grandkids. It matters. Thank you for reliving this incredible journey with us, and a massive thank you, of course, to Stephen McPhail and Gavin Ray for contributing, and the brilliant Kevin McNaughton for his little cameo story. But let us know in the comments, what was your favourite moment of this FA Cup run? Drop it in the comments, let me know. As always, give that context. But thank you so much. We do these Bluebird rewinds now and again. We like to do all sorts of stories and deep dives. Most of all, we look at Cardiff City 7 days a week. We look at the tactics. We look at the games, the match reactions. We have everything. Fan contributions, vlogs, the rest. There's some massive, massive stuff coming up. I'm going to interview someone next week, which is going to be a really, really good one. I might put it out to members the day or two before I go and see if they've got any specific questions. But I'm sure we won't be short of questions for this gentleman. We've talked about him a lot over the years with different people. But that was the story. This is Cardiff City World. If you're a Cardiff City fan, this is the place to be, because all we talk about is Cardiff City 7 days a week, every single day, all year round, by fans, for fans. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, we'll be back tonight with myself and Aaron live, looking ahead to the weekend. Take care, my friends. Keep the faith, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, I remember Hereford, because Kev scored a volley, didn't he? He scored a volley from the edge of the box, which I thought that was bizarre in itself, because Kev's not known for stuff like that, but it was just like, wow, what a goal. And I think because obviously you're concentrating so much on the league and the championship, and there's so many games, they sort of take care of themselves. And then the cup games, you just sort of like, oh, well, you know, it's not a bit of freedom, but there's a bit of chance to just enjoy it a bit more. And I think obviously with a really good team, with a great squad, you know, right throughout the team with a really good squad, good balance of experienced pros, some younger ones, but obviously really good ability within the squad as well. So we always thought we could match it with most teams on a one-off. Yeah, over a season, obviously that's difficult, the higher levels you go, but on a one-off, we thought we'd always be confident. And, you know, I think we just played with a bit of a freedom in the cup, and it was just, I just remember the game's been really enjoyable. But as I say, we had a really solid, you mentioned about not losing goals, we had a solid back, you know, a spine of the team. And I think everyone was playing really well in the cups, and, you know, we just managed to sort of ride the wave right through the final. So it was great memories, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, like Jimmy, I played with at Leeds when I first broke in. So yeah, to see him come to Cardiff was amazing. We had like Robbie Fowler, Trevor Sinclair, they had huge experience within the game, and their careers was right at the top level. So for them boys to come in the dressing room, it lifts everyone. I think you can lean on them in hard moments within a season. And as I said, we had a really good blend with the young boys coming in as well, and then that core group was really strong. So it was yeah, listen, what an amazing player Jimmy was, and his career tells you that with the amount of goals he got. But I think he gave us something different that probably the squad needed at the time. And Dave was brilliant at that. He would always bring someone in out of nowhere that was unexpected. So it was great times. I loved it. It was an amazing group of lads. Madly enough, we all really got on. We were really close off the pitch, and families and kids and everyone were really close. So that helped.
2008 season, mate. What was the general feeling at the start of the season, like in terms of what you were hoping to achieve, and the general feeling around what the qualities of the squad were?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because obviously it was my first year at Cardiff, so I'd obviously played in Scotland my whole career, and then got an opportunity to play down in the English Championship, but obviously with Cardiff. And then obviously Dave Jones putting together a top squad. We'd obviously signed, Robbie Fowler, Trevor Sinclair, Jimmy Floyd was there. I knew Tomo obviously was there, Kev McNaughton, and then you've got you've got Joe Ledley, obviously been breaking through and played lots of games, and Steve McPhail, who I knew from Leeds. So we had a really good squad. For me, it was like I wasn't sure what to expect, but we certainly had high expectations of where we wanted to get to within the championship, and David built a really good squad. So we thought we could do really well. And obviously the cup run, coincided with that. And I don't think, when you start out a cup run, you don't sort of think, oh, we can get to the final. You just don't know that. But it's sort of the way it transpired was incredible. And as I say, it's my first time playing the FA Cup, and I'm in the final in the first season, which is nuts, like absolutely crazy. So it was just an amazing run that coincided with a good season, but obviously not as successful as obviously what we'd like to be in. But the cup final was incredible, yeah.
This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/AcePodcastNation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans for fans, balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy what we do, then join the community today and support what we are doing as we help to keep Cardiff City World flying high.